Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's GentooMan here, also known as Rainy, and damn, I'm really fucking bad at sticking with a schedule for making videos. I guess it takes a day where I'm pretty much snowed into my house and trying to find food for me to make a damn video. I'm not even going to bother hitting you guys with that. I'm going to try and stay on my schedule because we all know how that's gone the past couple of times. I am going to try, but I can't promise anything. We know that. All that being said, I have a pretty good video for you guys today. Got a pretty good story time for you, so without further ado, let's hop into it. So this story time takes place a good couple of years ago. I was about 14 years old, I think, when this happened. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I was reminded of this story because, as I previously mentioned, it's really fucking snowy outside. For those of you who don't know, I live in Canada, so as soon as the snow falls, it's a fucking wasteland out here. Which reminded me of this story because this story time takes place I believe it was January, it might have been December. It was one of the winter months for sure. And it gets really, really fucking cold here sometimes, like extremely cold. And, there's lots of snow. So on this day that this story time takes place, I was kind of just chilling in my house. It was the evening. I think it was like 8 p.m., something like that. And I had I'd gotten home from school. It was really cold. It was really snowy. So I didn't really want to do anything. I was kind of just posted in my room playing video games. And as I was just chilling, sitting on my bed, playing some games, I think I was probably playing like Batman Arkham City or something like that. All of a sudden, my lights and my TV just turn off. They just all go out. Everything in my room is just out. So I put down my controller and I get out of my room. I step out. Around the same time I'm stepping out of my room, my brother's stepping out of his room. So is my sister. We all kind of go downstairs to find my parents. And lo and behold, there's a power outage, which is not uncommon. It does happen a fair amount. But we were all kind of doing things that required electronics. So my parents were watching TV. I was playing video games. I don't know what my siblings were doing, but they came down. So probably something. So we all kind of sat near the kitchen and we were kind of just trying to find candles and we were lighting candles and that was our light because we didn't have actual lights. So we got all these candles set up and we're there probably in the kitchen for about 10-15 minutes doing this. And then my siblings go back to their rooms and I kind of just continue chilling there with my parents. I think I was getting something to eat or something like that. And as I'm doing that, there's a knock on our front door. So my mom goes and she answers the door and she sees that it's some family friends of ours. It was a family that my family knows pretty well, but it wasn't the entire family. It was the two parents and their daughter who is my age. And so my mom's like, oh, it's so cold outside, come in. She's ushering them into my house and they stand in the front of our house. Well, they talk to my mom and my dad comes to see who it is. And so they all start talking. And obviously they're talking about the power outage. They don't live too far from my house. And my parents asked them if the power went out for them as well. And they're like, yeah, the power did go out at our house. We're actually trying to go pick up our son. He's at a friend's house. But our car is stuck in the snow on our driveway. We can't get it out. So we came to ask a favor of you guys. Would you be willing to drive us to go get him? Because they had a younger son and I guess he was out. So my parents are like, yeah, we can do that. My dad has a truck. It's it doesn't really get stuck. At least it hasn't to my knowledge. So yeah, we can take you. We'll take you to go get him. That's no problem. So at this point, I'm walking up to the door to see who it is because I'm hearing most of this conversation. I mean, I knew who it was, but, I'm walking up to the door to kind of just be part of this. And I walk up to the door, and my mom kind of briefs me on what's going on. She's like, hey, your dad and I are going to go with them, and we're going to go help them get their son. Are you good to stay here? And I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine, whatever. I was going to hop in the shower. And my mom's like, okay, yeah, be quick because the hot water might not last too much longer because there's no power. And I'm like, okay, I will. And then my mom turns to their daughter, and we're going to call her Lauren. So my mom turns to Lauren. She's like, you can stay here if you want. You don't have to come with us to get your brother. She's like, okay, I might do that if that's okay with you. Are you sure that's okay? My mom's like, yeah, totally, that's okay. You can just hang out here with my kids, and we'll be right back. She's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. So my parents and Lauren's parents leave. They get in my dad's truck, and off they go. So I kind of lead Lauren into the main area of my house. I'm like, hey, so you can chill here, I guess. If you want any food, feel free. Grab some. I'm going to go get in the shower. I'll come find you when I'm done if you're still here. And she's like, okay, cool. And I suppose it's important to mention, Lauren and I aren't close. We aren't really, friends. We know each other fairly decently, but, we're not friends. We're not close. We're acquaintances, So this is, a little awkward. So I go upstairs. I go into the bathroom, and I turn on the shower and I hop in. Keep in mind, the lights still don't work, so there's no light in the bathroom. I have like this little night light plugged into the wall, and that's my entire like light source for this entire shower. Now, little bit of time goes by. I'm just doing my thing, right? Like I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just having my shower. And I realized that I forgot to lock the door. And I realized this because I hear the door open. Now, this is not the first time that I've done that. Sometimes I've left it unlocked, and I mean, hey, the light's not on, so whatever. I don't know if someone could tell I was in there. And my brother has occasionally like opened the door when I've been in the shower. And so I just kind of yell, I'm like, hey, like I'm in here. Sorry. And I don't get a response, but I do hear the door close. And I'm like, okay, so they probably left. Like I thought it was my brother. I thought my brother left. And that was that. So I'm kind of standing there for like probably a minute longer. And I'm like, I should go lock the door so that doesn't happen again. And right as I go to move the curtain, and the curtain moves from the other side, and I see Lauren just completely naked, and she steps into the shower. So I kind of like take a couple steps back. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, it was really cold down there. I thought it'd be warmer up here with you. I'm just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why are you in here? Like, what the hell? And she's like, I told you, like, it's cold down there. I thought it'd be warmer if I came and I showered with you. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? And she's like, what, you don't like what you see? And I'm like, it has nothing to do with that. Like, this is just weird. Like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know what to say, guys. Like, what would you say in that scenario? Like, this girl that you barely know just, like, steps into a shower with you, unbeknownst to you, by the way, while you're in a power outage. Like, it's just an awkward scenario, you know? So she's like, Kate, well, like, I'm freezing. I told you that. And, like, now I am more because I don't have any clothes on. So can I, like, get under the water for a second? So I'm like, I guess. So we switch places, and she's under the water for a bit, and we kind of just switch back and forth. And it's so awkward, you guys. It's not the vibe. It's so fucking awkward. And we're just kind of going back and forth until eventually I hear the sound of my front door opening. And I'm like, fuck. And she starts freaking out too. She's like, oh, this is bad. And she starts like starting to step out of the shower. But like, I think for like a split second, I start thinking, and I'm just more so thinking of trying to cover my own ass. But I could sort of like grab her arm and pull her back in. She's like, what are you doing? Like, I have to get dressed. I have to get out of here. I'm like, how are you going to explain why your hair is wet? And she stops. She's like, you're right. Now, did I really want to, like, help the girl who just, like, unconsensually stepped into a shower I was in? Not really, but this was more so about saving my own ass, because I didn't want to deal with explaining to not only my parents, but also her parents why she was in the shower with me, because I don't think she was going to explain it, so I just wanted to avoid that situation entirely. So she's freaking out. She's like, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to stay here. I'm going to get out. And I'm going to go greet everyone. And I'm going to tell them that you went home already. And then we'll figure it out from there. She's like, okay, we'll do that. So I step out of the shower. I get dressed really quick. I'm like I just throw on like my sweatpants and my hoodie. And I step out of the bathroom. So I step out of the bathroom and I go down the stairs. And I see my parents and then Lauren's parents and Lauren's brother. And they're like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, hey, not bad. Just got out of the shower. So Lauren's parents are like, where's Lauren at? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. If she's not down there, she may have gone home. Like she said something about just walking home because it's not too far. They're like, oh, okay, well, I hope she's all right. We just like, yeah, it's really cold out there, so I hope she got home all right. I'm like, oh, I'm sure she did, but I think that's where she went. And they're like, okay, cool, thanks for letting us know. So I head back upstairs, and as I'm heading back upstairs, I can hear my mom, like, inviting Lauren's parents and brother in, like, to give them, like, some hot chocolate, you know, just to warm up before they go home. And I see this as an opportunity. So I go upstairs, and I'm going to go talk to Lauren. And, dude, this was the closest call, like, ever. I walk back towards the bathroom, and I'm walking pretty slowly, and I open the door to the bathroom, and Lauren's still behind the shower curtain. Like, you can't see her because obviously the lights aren't on. But I hear, like, her dad behind me. Like, so Lauren's not up here. And just double checking she went home. And I swear my heart damn near stopped. And I'm like, yeah, like, I don't see her up here. I know she was using the bathroom up here earlier, but I don't think she's here anymore. And so he looks at the bathroom, and he sees her hoodie on the floor. And he's like, oh, she must have left her hoodie here. Here, if you want to pass me that, I'll take it home to her. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm not trying to be like suspicious now. So I give him the hoodie, and I can feel the hoodie feels a little bit like heavy, like there's stuff inside of it, but obviously I can't do anything about that. So I hand him the hoodie, and he just kind of carries it. He's like, thanks. I'll see you around. I'm like, yeah, I'll see you around. And then he goes downstairs, and I just have to recover for a second. So I go back in the bathroom, and I close the door, and I open the shower, and I talk to Lauren. I'm like, okay, your parents are here, and your brother, and your dad just took your hoodie, but he thinks that you went home. And she's like, my dad took my hoodie, and she seems super, like, not chilling. She seems very worried about that. I'm like, yeah, he took your hoodie, but he seemed to really buy the story, so it's okay. And she's like, no, you don't understand. All of my clothes were shoved inside of my hoodie. They are all in there. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. And she's like, no, I'm not. Like, they're all in my hoodie. And I'm like, okay, shit. Come with me. So I pull her up. We open the door. I scout to make sure no one is out in the hallway. And then I run her to my room, and I close the door. And I give her a pair of my sweatpants. I give her I give her one of my hoodies. And we're good. She's clothed again, which is nice. And so I look at her and I tell her, like, okay, here's what we're going to do. My window opens. I've snuck out there before. We're going to open my window, and we're going to get you home just so that we avoid this entire situation, okay? And she's like, okay. Can you help me, like, down from the roof? And, like, she asked me if I minded walking her home because it was late and it was cold. And I'm like, hey, fine. I'll walk you home. And I'll help you down, but we got to go now. So we did. I opened my window. It was freezing fucking cold outside, but I helped her down. I got myself down, and I walked her home with relatively no issue. We got to her house. She, like, thanked me. She said, thank you. And she was like, that was fun. Like, that was kind of an adventure. I'm like, I guess you could call it that. Yeah. And so I left, and I start my way back to my house. But on my walk back, I notice her family also walking back to her house. So I have to duck into an alleyway and, like, take the back roads, like, through alleyways back to my house, which is, like, I know those alleys. I've done that, like, countless times. But I was just trying to, like, stealth my way through it. I'd have to, like, peek through corners and stuff, like, or peek around corners just to see where they were. 'Cause, like, the roads in my neighborhood are, like, super windy and weird, and they, like, interconnect at, like, the weirdest points. So I had to make sure that I wasn't going to run into them. But luckily, I avoided them, and I got back to my house, so I was able to climb back up onto the roof and get through my window. But right as I was climbing through my window, my door opened. And I was thinking, like, oh, fuck. And I thought it was going to be one of my parents. Instead, it was my brother. And my brother just sees me crawling in my window, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, nothing. Like, I was just out on the roof. And he's like, okay. And, he seemed super weirded out. Then he just like, it was really cold coming from here, so I thought I'd look in and see, but I guess your window's open, so I guess that makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, I was just, like, outside for a minute. And he's like, okay, have fun with that. And he left. So I get in, I close my window, and that's that. Crisis averted. And yeah, that's pretty much the story. I ended up having a couple more odd interactions with Lauren throughout my time knowing her. She was an odd person. But yeah, that's pretty much the story time. Moral of the story is make sure you lock the door when you're showering. It'll probably save you some trouble. It definitely would have in my case. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this. I love you all. I'm sorry that my schedule and my ability to make videos is so shitty. I'm working on it. I want to do this channel full time. I really do. I got a lot of stuff in the works. I don't know if I'm going to talk about them yet, but I got a lot of stuff in the works for you guys, and I hope you guys stick around to see them. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Later.